Ambassador Ron Weiser, chairman of the Michigan Republican Party, is with us this morning. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning.
What did you make of the debate yesterday? From your standpoint, obviously you're neutral in the primary. You don't back a candidate, but just, you've seen a lot of these things. How did it measure up?
Well, I think it was a good one. I think that they covered a lot of topics. I think the people of Michigan were the winners. Now they can make much more informed decisions when they go to the polls in 20 days.
Yeah, well, what about the polls? Did anybody, we talked about maybe there might be a Hail Mary pass yesterday. Somebody might try to do something dramatic to separate themselves from the pack. Did that happen at all in your estimation? Did anybody throw a long bomb?
Well, I think everybody tried to get out as much as they could because there was a large audience, both by webcast and live watching, and I think we got a good look at everybody. And this thing is so close. Usually, when things are close, then only if somebody's way behind do they throw those bombs, right? But this is such a close race. Nobody knows who's going to win it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting and exciting primary night, I guess, and a sleepless night maybe if it could go into the morning because, after all, as you say, by most polls, it's a couple of points separating here and there.
Well, you're right on the head with that. I mean, we have a pretty fast reporting system, but this could be a few hundred votes one way or another. That's why it's so important that everybody goes out and votes for who they think can be the best governor to lead us into the changes the state needs so desperately.
And in the meantime, I mean, it seems to me it's almost like a sailboat race where everybody is in tight. They've got the sails drawn in, and they're all going neck and neck, except maybe for Senator George, who pulls well behind. But I guess you never know. And nobody really wants to tack too much. They don't mind taking each other's wind. But for the most part, in the next 20 days, unless something dramatic happens, it's going to look that way at the finish line, isn't it?
I think that's what's going to happen, and there's a close race on the other side too. So we're not going to know who our two candidates from each of the parties is going to be. I think until in the wee hours on August the 2nd.
You say it's a close race on the other side. I'm looking at data now of 445 likely Democratic primary voters. That's showing Andy Dillon, the Speaker of the House, with a 20-point advantage over Lansing Mayor Verge Bernero. It's conducted by Mitchell Research and Communications. Do you know anything about Mitchell? And is 445 enough of a sample to come up with a number like that? Because that's a big number.
It is a big number, and Steve Mitchell is a good pollster, and if that's what he's put out, that's what he's put out. But if I'm not mistaken on all of these, there's a huge amount of undecided, so we shall see.
What is your take on the 7th Congressional District now? They've got 3 candidates running for the Republican nomination there, trying to unseat Congressman Mark Schauer, the freshman, formerly a state senator. But we're going to have Brian Rooney and Tim Walberg on in just a couple of minutes. Can you sort of give us a little primer about that primary?
Yeah, well, the 7th, we've got 3 good candidates running, and I think what's interesting about the 7th is if you remember when Mark Schauer beat Tim Walberg 2 years ago, he did it by just about a point and a half, as I recall, and yet that was a Obama landslide inside of that district. So, there's a great opportunity here for us to have a pickup, and I think we are with whoever the candidate is going to be. We're going to win that seat back. I mean, if you remember also that Mark Schauer's old seat was put up in the special election last November, and he had won that by a 22-point margin in 2006, and we won it back in 2009 with Mike Noss with only almost a 28-point margin. So you can see there's been a big shift inside of that district, or certainly the part that he held as a state senator, and I think that's going to be a Republican seat going forward in 2011.
Okay, we will stay tuned then. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We'll talk again soon.
Always a pleasure.
You too, Republican Party Chair Ron Weiser.